How's it going, YouTube? It's your boy Thompson. It's coming at you with a deck profile. Today I'm bringing you Runick Spright. Now, normally I talk about how Lifetime Spright's the better version, and I definitely like that version a lot better. I think it has a lot more things that make it fun, and things that like give you more lines of play into different things. But I definitely really like this version. It has a lot of weird, quirky things into it that I kind of been trying to test out, and I have been definitely having fun with it. So like you use pretty much like all the summoning mechanics from the extra deck, so other than Pendulum. So I just really wanted to talk about it because it's really fun. Now this is only Runick Spright. There's no For Hire, there's no Live Twin in it, there's no Cyber stuff yet. Like EMP isn't out yet, and like maybe I'll talk about like Cyber Spright like when that comes out. But for now, I'm going to talk about Runick Spright, and this is definitely like one of my favorite versions of the deck to play currently. So to start off, we got the Spright cards. We got 3 blue. We got 3 jet. We got 2 red still. I still play 2 red. I still think 2 red is really good. And we got 1 carrot. For the Runick or for the Spright spells, we got 3. We got 3 starter. We got 1 smashers, and then we still also play the 1 Spright double cross. Now, to explain the lineup here, I still play the 2 red because I think 2 red is still really nice to have as an extender. In this version of the deck, you choose either end a double cross or a negate of some kind. Usually I go with the double cross because the negate's good, but you play through a lot more things with the double cross. You survive the turn more often. And then like things like smashers is just things you have to play. Having the triple starter is also really good because you end up starting with it more, which is probably like the best part of the build for it. For some of the other monsters, you have the Nimble Engine, so you have 3 beaver as well as 2 angler. I thought about bumping this up to 3, but if I'm not playing the sunfish, I don't think you need the 3rd angler. And then to pair off some of the rest of the level 2 monsters, you have a caddy, a piney for your 2 Malfi monsters, and then you have 1 Epuria. There is still 1 more monster in the deck, but I'll talk about it a little bit later. For now, just to talk about these, the Nimble package with Sprint, as well as being able to discard this for Hugin, as well as the other stuff, is really nice. Having the Piney and Caddy is really good. I did try Pony at one point. I think Pony was an interesting thing to have because it allows you to discard the Piney, but there's no real reason to play other than like recursion, which is why like I didn't really play it. And then Epuria is really nice just as like a normal summon because you're not playing the Live Twins. Things like Epuria and the other monster I'll show later, as well as Beaver, are just really nice to have for as your normal summons. So it's just another way to extend past your normal stuff. We do have 1 Call by the Grave. Droll does beat this deck, and Ash is annoying, so it's one of those things that Call by the Grave comes up pretty often. For the Runick cards, you have the 17 Runick cards that you normally play. You have 2 Fountain, and then your 15 Quick Plays of 3 Tip, 3 Slumber, 3 Curse, 3 Destruction, and 3 Flashing Fire. Pretty standard. Pretty much like every Runick variant has like these in it, and then like maybe they'll bump up to like 18 or 19 cards having like Dispelling and something else, but pretty much these are always in the Runick builds. And then the last 2 cards of the deck are like some tech cards, or like they're interesting to me. It's Gale Dogra and Shadow Schism. Now these 2 are pretty much like there for like a very specific combo, but like also opening the Gale Dogra or drawing the Schism isn't the worst thing in the world. So like you're able to actually discard Schism off of some stuff, and Gale Dogra is just a really interesting card. And I'll explain Gale Dogra a bit more later. The big thing about it is that it's level 2, which makes it a really nice extender for you. For the extra deck, we'll just hop right in. You have the 2 Gigantic Spright. Gigantic Spright is absolutely mandatory to, in my opinion. I think if you don't play him at 2, then it's a little, I think you're trolling a little bit, because like the idea of having the follow-up with him is really nice, but like he has to survive, and if he's Ash, like he's a big linchpin into the deck for extending, more so than Spright Sprint. Like Spright Sprint lets you get into your Beaver, like into your Nimble package, but while that's really good, it also becomes a linchpin. Like if you focus too hard on the Sprint resolving, and then your gigantic gets negated, then like it just becomes really awkward. Typically, I keep Sprint as the backup for if gigantic gets negated, and then a lot of times people tend to focus on the Hugin, which I have 2 of. So the idea is that like your Hugin and your gigantic bait negates, then Sprint lets you get into the rest of your combo. And then because of the Nimble package, we play the IP. I'll link to. It's obviously amazing with Sprint. The idea is that you're able to put this and Sprint both on the board, and then you usually keep gigantic and/or Melty of the Forest in the field. So you will always have monsters that are summoned from the extra deck for the IP. For a card that comes up in a second. SP Little Knight is amazing, a card that you can summon off IP, but also normally. Mech Knight Abramax is the card you tend to summon off the IP. Mostly because of the battle protection, but also if it's made with IP, then it can't be targeted, it can't be destroyed by card effects, and then your opponent has to battle this card, and it almost can't be destroyed by battle because of its effect. So your opponent has to normal summon a monster with 3k or more attack, which tends to be pretty difficult in a deck where you can, do so much interaction. Melty of the Forest and Herald of the Arclight are your 2 Melty extra deck cards. So you have your Fusion monster, you have your Link monsters, you have your Exceed and Synchro. So you have 4 of the deck of the extra mechanics here. Basically, so this is a floodgate. It's also an omni-negate. With Spright Double Cross, you can make this 2 omni-negates, because you can just summon it back to a zone and link 2 monster points to. So typically, if you have IP or SP or Sprint in the field, it's very possible that you can just summon this right back. One of the cards that I think is, you could put this card into the side deck to cut it first, and then like Typhon. I definitely missed Typhon in this deck, but fitting it in was a little rough. So number 29, Mannequin Cat. Too much of the side deck I think is dedicated to this card, not the main deck it. I think you could probably cut a side deck card to put this into it, and then I'll talk about that in a second for Typhon. I haven't tested that out yet. I might actually test that out soon, but realistically, I think Mannequin Cat is just really good to have in here. Number 2, Ninja Shadow Mosquito. Another card that's very good, but typically it's used to summon Zeus, which is a nice card. But also having Ninja Mosquito alongside Abramax is really interesting. Being able to have Ninja Shadow and Abramax in the field at the same time really does cause a lot of interesting things when your opponent has to attack with attack monsters into something like Mosquito, so they have to out the Mosquito with stuff, and because of all your Spright cards, or because of all your Runick cards, you tend to be able to out their board, and then they have to attack the Mosquito, or they have to attack, and then they attack into Abramax. As long as you can trigger Mosquito, they can just burn them per game. Abramax just attack, it's always a 3k damage depending on the monster they attack with. So it's very interesting. And then the last 2 cards in the extra deck are El Shaddai Apkalon. This is the monster that you send off Galdogra, and then the Schism summon is Winda, obviously. So this way you can banish Spright Blue, Spright Jet, whatever dark is in the graveyard. Even Gigantic Spright can work here, or IP typically if you've already made the Abramax. And then you can summon Winda by banishing the Apkalon and that dark monster. And that is just it's part of a win. It's basically part of the win condition. So the idea is that your opponent gets locked into their 1 special summon, and then Sprint can bounce that 1 special summon. So that is the extra deck. I definitely like the spread of fusions, links, and exceed and a synchro monster. It's a little wonky and it's really tight, but you could realistically play Typhon, I think, with that in that regard. But realistically, I think because of the side deck, which I'll talk about here. Yeah, you can't really. I don't think you can really fit Typhon in, but we'll see. There is a card in here I think I could cut, but we'll talk about that in a sec here. 1 Chaos Hunter. You definitely play this card into things like dimensional. The Shifter. Yeah, Shifter. Sorry, words are hard. Dimensional Shifter. Chaos Hunter becomes very powerful against that because you summon Mannequin Cat, revive the shift, or summon Hunter, then you can continue your plays without worrying about your graveyard being banished. Archlord Christia. Christia is really good against the most decks. Any deck that summons a fairy monster or light monster, you can summon this with Mannequin Cat. Jinzo is really good against Shrubtrix, it's also really good against Labyrinth. So Labyrinth monsters are all dark, so you'd love to summon Jinzo. And Shrubtrix sometimes summon dark monsters. They don't do it as much anymore, but the idea is that because of that you can summon Jinzo, and hopefully it'll work enough. There's other cards though for trap decks in the side deck, so I think this is also this is kind of overkill, but this is definitely really interesting. It's a more reliable way to get to the trap 8, in my opinion. Now the card that I think that you can cut, which is the Mannequin Cat card, is the End of Anubis. I've kept this in mostly because of things like Two Elements and the Scarecrow Vanadium, different things that activate the graveyard. Now you could probably cut this, but realistically I think this is really good. It's come up enough for me where I want to keep it, but you could probably cut this to put Mannequin Cat in and then put the Typhon into the extra deck. For the rest of the side deck, you have 2 Ghost Spell. This card has been really great into things like Branded, it's been really great into Fire Kings, it's been really great into Rescue Ace. I've been seeing a lot of success from siding Ghost Spell. I definitely really like Ghost Spell. For the next card, you got 2 Troll. I went up this up to 3 somehow. I thought about cutting the End of Anubis for the 3rd, but I couldn't really. I kept missing the End of Anubis, so I kept cutting this back down to 2. Now I want to put a 3rd in, but again with the rest of the side deck, it'd be interesting. You could probably cut one of these, but 3 Super Poly for board removal I think is really important to have. Super Poly's board removal is insane, and just being able to cut through boards with Super Poly is really interesting. Now the main thing that you do here is you side out the 2 Shadala monsters, as well as the Geldogger and the Schism, and probably like the Double Cross. You put in 3 Super Poly, and then you put in the 1 Garura and the 1 Mudragon. That way you can not have dead cards in your extra deck while you're trying to make side deck decisions, and it becomes really powerful for really easy clearing to your opponent's board. And then the last 2 cards are Trap 8, it's 2 Royal Decree. Other than Transaction Rollback, which is relatively new, and the Big Welcome Labyrinth, and if you're playing against Shrubtrix, I guess, the Rafflesia, Royal Decree is just really good in general. For those reasons, Centurion also plays a trap card. Not like you probably wouldn't put it in for Centurions, but you could realistically, because the Centurion monsters count as trap cards in the spell trap card zone. So this lets you not only help lock them out of their combos, but it also allows you to play into things such as Phalanx, or if you want to play into Labyrinth, it allows you to play into their different types of removal, and then you can chain this and still have a game plan for going first against them. So between the Jinzo and this, going first against Labyrinth, you're pretty okay. And then the idea is that like you can still play things like Ghost Spell, Super Poly, and whatnot against them to still clear boards and stop them from summoning off of Big Welcome and such, which is, in my opinion, like the nice way to spread for the extra deck. Or for the side deck, sorry, it's not side deck, extra deck. But yeah, so that's the deck profile. Typically the end board, it looks like Sprint, IP, etc. on the board. I might go through some combos in another video, but we'll see. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Please check out the sponsor for today's video, Gemtech. Or they're not really a sponsor, but I'm affiliate with them now. I always try to get people to check them out. I love Gemtech accessories. They make really great deck boxes. They make some of my favorite stuff. And then I've also recently opened up a Discord. You can check up here. Link will be in the description. Just like in all my videos, it'll be in the description. Because recently I've had some people ask me to open a Discord server for stuff, and I think it's just easier for like replays and different submissions that people wanted to give me. So yeah, thank you guys again so much for watching. It means the most. I'll see you next time. Peace.